The second half of the season, Malika.
I'm loving this film room edition, Danny and Janae. Thank you very much for that breakdown. Mark, you were in the Cavaliers locker room last night. You had a chance to actually talk to the team about how they're feeling about these moves. What did they say?
Well, respectful to the guy that left that they all love. They're excited. They're really, really excited. Yeah, 6 weeks ago, when the first conversations came about James Harden, Donovan Mitchell was aware of him. And he kind of filed it away. He didn't think anything was going to happen. This is actually somebody that Donovan knows. They worked out with Chris Paul and James Harden early in his career when he was with the Jazz. Made Adidas trips with him, but didn't think it was going to happen. And then boom, it did. Donovan told me he talked to James 2 days ago. He's going to talk to him today. This ain't going to be Shaq and Kobe. He's super excited to play with him. They both talked about how they need each other to win. He was impressed how James Harden knew their roster inside and out. They talked about how they were going to work together. And Donovan tells me he's just going to keep squeezing his brain and learn from him. Donovan's having an MVP year, but he said there's so many little things that James does that I could get better at that I'm going to do. I also talked to Jaron Allen and Evan Mobley. And Coach, you know this. Kenny, you know this. What did James do with Joel Embiid? He helped him get an MVP. What did he do with Zubac? He gave Zubac the best time of his career. And they were, how did the young kids do? They do that, right? They're ready to eat, man. Jared Allen and Mobley, they're ready for these alley-oops, these easy buckets. They're about to eat. And this team feels like they've launched a place to compete for a championship. Last thing I'll say about Donovan, he said this is the first time in his career that management said, I'm going to get you an A-star to join you. And he's really, really excited to be with James Harden.
And you can definitely start to feel it. James Harden posting on social media. But you said Ivica Zubac. We have breaking news here on the NBA Today trade deadline special. Ivica Zubac is on his way to the Indiana Pacers here. Our Shams Charania has more. Shams, what can you tell us?
Malika, Ivica Zubac is going to the Indiana Pacers. I'm told Ben Mathurin and Isaiah Jackson, as well as significant draft compensation, is going to the Clippers. Still waiting on what that draft compensation is, but clearly the Pacers wanted a center after losing Miles Turner in free agency last offseason. That's what this has been about. They scoured the market searching for centers, whether it was Daniel Gafford, Ivica Zubac, Yves Missi. There was a laundry list of big men that they were looking into and trying to find someone that Tyrese Halliburton was going to be excited about, someone that they could pair with for the next few years once Tyrese Halliburton is back next season from his torn Achilles. But this Tyrese Halliburton, Ivica Zubac pairing is something the Pacers are very excited about. They've landed Ivica Zubac from the Clippers.
They have the Pacers do their center of the
I
future.
do have details,
Okay.
Malika. It's Ivica Zubac and Kobe Brown for 2 first-round draft picks from the Pacers and 1 second-round pick. The first, one of the first is in 2029. It's unprotected from the Pacers. And then there's another one from this year that does have protection.
All right. Wow. A lot of picks flying around in this deal as well. Shams, thank you very much for that insight. We'll let you get back to work. Brian, this deal is so much bigger than just Ivica Zubac headed to the Pacers.
First off, the Pacers get their replacement for Miles Turner. They've been working on that for a while. Second off, Zubac just went kind of for more than Anthony Davis went for. That's another topic. All right, here's what I think is important. Number one, the Clippers appear to be in a significant retooling. I'll step away from saying rebuilding, but it sure looks like a rebuild to me when you trade for draft picks like this, Harden and Zubac. And so that begs the question, what about Kawhi Leonard? What about Kawhi Leonard? Okay, he may not be going in the next 36 minutes, but is this a precursor to looking at whether a Kawhi Leonard trade is coming this summer? He's got 1 year left on his contract. Obviously, we've got the aspiration investigation also going along. The second thing that people are blowing up my phone about right now is the cheers and celebrations in Oklahoma City because the Thunder have the Clippers draft pick this year unprotected. And now the Clippers pick has been soaring up. They were headed for the playoffs, in my view. Now, they've traded Harden and Zubac here. They're going down. So this is improving Oklahoma City's opportunity to be in the lottery, which they're celebrating.
Okay, wait. There's so many tentacles to this trade. Here we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champs who are cheering and celebrating. We have the fact that Kawhi Leonard, a question that we've been asking, Ramona, is this spelling out the end of Kawhi Leonard in the Los Angeles Clippers?
About 12 hours ago, I was in the Clippers locker room, and I went to Kawhi Leonard, and I said, you know, I remember when they traded for James Harden, and this was like your big move. You had Paul George and James Harden and you, and there was that big three. You guys were going for it. It was just a couple years ago, and now those guys are gone. You're the last one standing. And he goes, yeah, does it feel like the end of an era?
That's
and he's
about
like,
as verbose as
yeah,
it gets,
it does. Those guys are gone. The players are gone. That's it. He's the last one standing. And I remember the other night when James Harden was traded to Cleveland, somebody whispered to me, watch Zubac now, because I don't think the Clippers are necessarily looking to trade Zubac, but there was a lot of good offers on him because he has a very good contract. He doesn't make as much money as some of these other front lines, Anthony Davis, as you mentioned.
Okay.
They could get 2 first-round picks for him. And he's benefited so much from playing next to James Harden. He's probably a declining asset now that Harden is not there.
One thing that teams don't realize, because it's kind of like when you look at your hand, you can only see the markings in yours. You don't pay attention to the rest of the league. So as the Clippers were moving into championship contending, there's other teams that are making moves to do the same thing. And we're just going to figure out to see which ones work. And now we realize the Clippers weren't able to reach their goals at the Milwaukee Bucks when Damian Lillard gets hurt now they're reaching that goal. So everyone is moving simultaneously. So there is a continuity of movement that I think the world and the other teams forget. And they think that they're the last all and end all.
Well, and I think it's a great pickup, by the way, for Indiana. Obviously, this has been a really tough year for Rick Carlisle and company after making the NBA Finals. Halliburton recovering from the injury. But if he has a partner in Zoo, that's a great big man and a center that they can build with for years forward.
And a very good 3-year contract at less than $20 million a year. Excellent value. I would not have traded him if I were the Clippers.
Oh, we have the first Brian clap of the show.
They got 2 firsts, Brian. They had no first, like forever. They all go to Oklahoma City. They now.
Minutes, people, separate us from the 2026 NBA trade deadline. And our Anthony Slater, who covers the Golden State Warriors, he is reporting that Draymond Green, he will be in a Golden State Warriors uniform 31 minutes from now. He was, Slater says, involved in Giannis conversations that never gained traction. And now, of course, we know that Kristaps Porzingis is a member of the Golden State Warriors. So let's check in here on the state of the Western Conference, on 2 Titans that we have come to know as sort of mainstays in the conference. And one of them is Steph Curry here. If you're in Golden State, Coach, you have been, how are you feeling?
Obviously they were going for Giannis. That would have been the big, sexy move to pair him with Steph Curry.
No big sexy.
That's not, no big sexy. Not big perk. Not big perk. So that's not going to happen. I'm happy for Draymond. I coach Draymond, a big fan of his, that he's going to be able to stay and hopefully finish his career in Golden State for everything he's done for that franchise and helping them win all those championships. But, the end of this season, Porzingis, it's going to be tough sledding to finish out this year, and I don't see them making a lot of noise come postseason.
Well, it is fortunate for Draymond, but, the greatest players in the world have been traded, especially at the latter part of their careers, and Draymond would be no exception if the team feels that they want to move on. And I think he understood that as well. I think that's why but the difference is everyone's not able to receive information. Some people you can't tell everything. They had to tell Draymond. He is someone who can actually take that information, receive it, come back today, and still be Draymond Green.
And be a pro.
And a lot of guys are not able to do that. And they know who to spoon feed and who actually just give the plate to.
And I think now the question turns to Steph Curry. He's had this injury that he's been contending with, and how long that could continue.
Right. So the thing is, they've crossed the Rubicon with Draymond. They've told him that he will be involved in trade discussions going forward. So, okay, he's going to be at the rest of this season. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and it's a player option. So do they revisit Draymond trade discussions in the offseason? And could they revisit Giannis conversations in the offseason? The second thing, as you said, Steph Curry is out right now with a sore knee. They said it's runner's knee. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like it's something that needs rest. And the question is, if with the Warriors not having really materially improved here, I don't know what Porzingis is going to be able to give them, how much is Steph Curry going to be playing in the short-term future? Because the Warriors have control of their pick. I know people are probably like, why do you keep talking about players shutting down with their pick? The 2026 draft is very, very highly valued, and if you can't improve your team through the trade deadline, you improve your team through the draft, and that's going to be a consideration for players.
I'm a little disappointed in a few teams in the Western Conference. Minnesota, the Rockets, and the Lakers. Because we talk about how wide open the East is which with the moves that's been made, I wouldn't necessarily say is just wide open. I think we know who the top 3 dogs are. I don't know who the top 3 dogs are no more in the Western Conference.
You don't think it's OKC Spurs?
Because of injuries, right? SGA now is out. J-Dub with the hamstring, and we know how soft tissue injuries could be. You're looking at the Denver Nuggets right now. Aaron Gordon is out, hamstring injury. Jokic is still banged up. He had another scare last night.
Cam Johnson's still out too.
Right. So when you look at the Rockets and it didn't have to be a powerful move, just a popular move. Like, you could have went out and kind of been somewhat aggressive and went and got a Tyus Jones or Kobe White to fulfill that veteran point guard position. If you're in Minnesota, you're looking like they made some nice little moves. I think AO is going to be fine for them from the Bulls. But I was expecting even the Lakers, we talk about their rim protection, how they're one of the worst in the league. DeAndre Ayton has been inconsistent all year long. Like, I expected them to be more aggressive. Especially when you talk about having a LeBron, a Luka, a Austin Reeves. They have one of the best offensive weapons as far as those guys as a trio. I expect it because the West really is wide open right now.
I was looking at Houston, thinking the same thing. You're 4th in the West. Do you have enough shooting around Kevin Durant and Şengün? And biggest question is they've tried to go point guard by committee, and you can speak on this, Kenny, because you played at a high level. They're going point guard by committee. Can you go point guard by committee into the postseason and have a chance to move forward? They're 27th in the league in assists per game, and they're asking guys to play a position that is something that is hard to do.
Very hard to do. You know, I think, first of all, I think the Rockets have made some really great moves over the last 2 years. That's put them in the position that they're in now. You know, but a Jose Alvarado he would be better fit for the Rockets than he actually is for the Knicks. He would have been more valuable, rather. Not better fit, but more valuable. Just someone who played that position. I do remember, even the latter part of my career, when I got traded, and we played the Rockets again, and I come back into the locker room and see Akeem Olajuwon. He says, "I apologize to you." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I really worked. I said I didn't know what he was talking about.